They thought the cockpit would break her. They believed the F-35 was the perfect stage to embarrass a woman who did not belong. A jet too advanced, too unforgiving, too sacred for someone they assumed was placed there as a joke. What they did not know was that the moment her hands touched the controls, history had already shifted. Asterisk, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. Captain Aisha Rahman arrived at the coastal air base before dawn, carrying no arrogance, no visible pride, and no rank stitched loudly into her posture. Her uniform was plain, her boots worn, her expression calm in a way that unsettled people who measured worth by volume. To most of the pilots gathered near the hangar, she looked like an administrative transfer, maybe a diversity checkbox sent to observe, not to fly. The base buzzed with quiet tension. A joint training exercise was underway, one that paired Air Force pilots with Navy SEAL Air Coordination commanders. Precision mattered. Reputations mattered. Mistakes stayed on record forever. Commander Jake Morrison of the SEALs watched her from across the tarmac. He was decorated, confident, and used to being the sharpest mind in any room. When he was told that she would be piloting the F-35 for the demonstration flight, he let out a small laugh he did not bother to hide. Who signed off on this? He asked. Someone replied that headquarters wanted to test adaptability. Morrison shook his head. He assumed adaptability meant watching someone fail under pressure. He assumed the jet would expose her limits within minutes. Aisha heard none of the whispers directly, but she felt them. She felt them in the way conversations paused when she passed, in the way eyes followed her, not with curiosity, but with expectation of failure. She did not correct anyone. She did not announce who she was. She had learned long ago that silence often revealed more truth than explanations. During the briefing, technical jargon flew across the room. Advanced avionics, stealth envelopes, simulated combat scenarios. Morrison interrupted more than once, questioning whether she had logged enough hours in fifth generation aircraft. She answered calmly, "Enough." That single word irritated him more than any argument could have. When it was time to suit up, the crew guided her toward the F-35 like handlers escorting a risk. Morrison stood nearby, arms crossed, certain that the cockpit would overwhelm her. The jet was unforgiving. It magnified fear. It punished hesitation. Aisha climbed in with steady movements. Her hands did not tremble. Her breathing did not change. As the canopy closed, she shut out the noise of doubt and returned to a familiar internal silence. This was not her first time in hostile territory. It was simply another environment that demanded respect. The jet roared to life, and within moments, she was airborne. From the control room, Morrison watched the telemetry with mild interest that quickly sharpened into confusion. Her ascent was flawless. Her handling was smooth, precise, disciplined. She followed the flight plan exactly. Neither timid nor aggressive. Then the simulation escalated. The exercise introduced unexpected threats, rapid target shift, electronic warfare interference. It was designed to stress even elite pilots. Morrison expected her to struggle. Instead, the data told a different story. She adapted faster than the system anticipated. She rerouted without delay, calculated angles that minimized exposure, and executed maneuvers that were not just correct, but elegant. The F-35 responded to her like an extension of her will. Morrison leaned forward, eyes narrowing. This was not luck. This was mastery. The scenario pushed further, simulating a compromised SEAL extraction zone. The jet needed to provide cover, suppress threats, and create an escape corridor. Timing was everything. A single miscalculation would mean mission failure. Aisha did not hesitate. She adjusted altitude, altered approach vectors, and coordinated virtual fire with surgical precision. Every movement was deliberate. Every decision carried confidence rooted in experience, not bravado. In the control room, silence replaced skepticism. Morrison felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. He had seen pilots like this before, but only in classified briefings and after-action reports spoken about in quiet tones. The kind of pilot who did not just fly missions, but rewrote how they were flown. The simulation ended. The jet returned to base, touching down as smoothly as it had taken off. When Aviation stepped out of the cockpit, the crew stared at her with a different kind of attention. Respect had replaced amusement. All edged out doubt. Morrison approached her slowly. "That was an impressive run," he said. She nodded once. "Thank you." He paused, then asked a question he should have asked earlier. "Where did you learn to fly like that?" Aisha met his eyes. "Combat zones that do not appear on training brochures." He frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means I have flown when there were no second chances," she replied. "It means people depended on me to come back alive." Someone nearby whispered her name with a title attached. Captain was wrong. She was a major. And not just any major. The base commander stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Commander Morrison, you are speaking with Major Aisha Rahman, former lead test pilot on classified joint operations. She trained instructors who now train others. She has more combat flight hours than anyone on this base." The words landed heavily. Morrison felt the weight of his assumptions crash down all at once. He thought of his laughter, his dismissal, his certainty that the cockpit would humble her. Instead, it had revealed him. He straightened, removed his cap, and without hesitation, dropped to one knee. "Major Rahman," he said, his voice steady but humbled. "I misjudged you. That was my failure. You have my respect." The gesture stunned everyone watching. Aisha looked down at him, not with triumph, but with quiet understanding. She did not need apologies carved into the ground. She needed the mission to matter more than egos. She extended her hand. "Stand up, Commander. We are on the same side." He took her hand and rose. Change. Later that evening, as the base settled into calm, Morrison reflected on what he had witnessed. Strength did not announce itself. Excellence did not demand recognition. True skill waited patiently until the moment it was needed, then spoke clearly through action. Aisha walked alone near the runway, the sunset reflecting off the silent jets. She thought of every door she had walked through quietly, every test disguised as an insult, every time she was underestimated because it was easier than learning who she truly was. She carried no bitterness, only purpose. Because she knew something many never learned. Humiliation reveals the smallness of those who try to give it. Grace reveals the greatness of those who rise above it. And sometimes, the cockpit they choose to shame you with becomes the place where the world finally sees who you are. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.